and the University of Canterbury is New Zealand's second oldest. It was established in 1873 by scholars from Oxford and Cambridge universities, and that's a really source of pride for us. We maintain very strong links in terms of academic exchange with both of those universities.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Chat with Adam. I have my coffee right here, and James has his coffee, but he doesn't want to show me his coffee because his coffee is much better than mine. Mine is actually very simple Americano coffee. It doesn't taste that great, but it's okay. It does the job just fine. Today we have James Waghorn from the University of Canterbury. Hello James, how are you?
Very well, Adam. Good to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much for being here actually today. So again, like I said, today is another episode, so we're going to be learning about the University of Canterbury. We're going to be talking about the different faculties, the business faculty in specific, and also some of the unique aspects about studying in the university, and also how does it feel to live in this city as well. So there are a lot of things to talk about. We're going to go through them one by one, and I'm going to go directly to ask James the very simple introductory question, and because I would like to know more about James as a person and also as a person who's working for the University of Canterbury. So James, could you please give us a quick introduction about yourself, your position, and some of your duties working for the university?
Absolutely. Hello everyone. As Adam said, my name is James Waghorn. I've been working in the international office here at the University of Canterbury since April 2012. Before I worked at the university, I also did some marketing and management roles for an English language college here in Christchurch. And before that, I had the opportunity to live, study and work in both South Korea and Japan.
Wow.
So I'm very lucky in my current role. Even though we're not traveling at the moment, I look after South Korea, Japan, Vietnam and Thailand. They are the markets I look after. So I interview many students and parents and also work with our partners to make sure that everyone has the right information and makes a good choice. It's a big investment when you're making a decision to study overseas.
Indeed, I do agree with that, especially talking to students correctly about the university and also ensuring the information is well delivered. But you said you worked in South Korea and Japan as well, and you're previously, before you worked for the university, so do you speak any Japanese, any South Korean?
I do, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I do. Very similar languages. Well, I lived in Korea a long time, Adam. I was there 5 years, so
wow.
Again, I had the opportunity to study the language properly and then work for a year and a half with Samsung, which was an amazing opportunity in the marketing department, and then also spend some time in Japan after that.
Great, wow. James, you traveled to the countries that I would love to travel to, so I'm really envious right now, but it's okay.
Yeah. Well, I always find it really fascinating, when I traveled to Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh and even Da Nang to see all the the Korean and the Japanese culture there in the restaurants. It makes me feel like, a third home.
True, I do agree with that. Especially Hanoi, yeah, that's true. But it's growing now in Ho Chi Minh as well, so that culture is also...
I've noticed, yeah, there's huge Korean community there.
Which is quite exciting, to be honest with you. I love the international atmosphere in Vietnam. Wherever I go, I feel like I'm quite, I can get in, I can adapt very easily. I don't have to feel like an outsider, because everybody's so welcoming and you can see many faces and many people from different cultures. So it's incredible.
Great, yeah.
It's an incredible environment to be in. James, so you've been working for the university since 2012. So you probably have some knowledge about the university's history, which I would like to know more about. So could you please share with us some background knowledge about the university?
Absolutely. So across New Zealand universities, because we're a relatively small country, in total we only have 8 universities. They're all public universities, and the University of Canterbury is New Zealand's second oldest. It was established in 1873 by scholars from Oxford and Cambridge universities, and that's a really source of pride for us. We maintain very strong links in terms of academic exchange with both of those universities, and sometimes our international students who are here at Canterbury, they are actually taught by the guest lecturers or those lecturers who are on exchange from both Oxford and Cambridge. Mm-hmm. So that kind of gives an idea of the academic standing and quality that is offered here at Canterbury.
I actually didn't know about that information. You shared with me something new that I didn't know about the university.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I think it's quite exciting to actually get the opportunity to have lectures delivered by guest tutors as well. It's a good opportunity to expand your network as a student as well. So.
Oh, absolutely. And look, I mean, one thing, I don't know if students know about Christchurch or have seen some videos, etc. It has a very British feel. You can feel the old part of the university in the central city, the Arts Centre, that looks so much like the buildings at Oxford University. You'd be amazed.
Wow. You kind of making me feel like I should actually give it a visit one day when I have the opportunity to travel.
One day, yeah. Once you get that medical passport.
So I think that's great to know about university, but there's some other things that I would like to know more about, and something specific is if you tell us more about the location itself. You did tell us that it's very looking like a British town, but I think we'd like a little bit more about the city as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think one thing, Adam, that in New Zealand at the moment, particularly where Christchurch is the major city of the South Island of New Zealand, and I know this year has been a very challenging and strange one for so many people, but we have been so lucky here. The South Island of New Zealand, we have not had a case of community COVID-19 since March of this year. We're just waiting for that normality to return.
I think it will. It will be a new normal, but not the same normal, but it will be a new normal that we all adapted to. And this is the great thing, or the beautiful thing about human beings, I would say, is that we're quite adaptive. So COVID-19, great lesson in life. James, I would like to know about one more thing before I jump to the next topic, and it's related to the teaching methodology that's being used in university. So, for example, is it more based on research or based more on practical, like industrial, like experience, where the students can, get to have like hands-on experience with the industries? How does it look like at the university? Could you please give us more information or details about the teaching methodology?
Absolutely. Well, the University of Canterbury has always been very well known for its research methodology, and at university level we feel that we look at things type of in a pyramid. So with research at the top, and the methodology flows down from there, because the academic staff believe without that core of research, even the practical courses, there's no real base to them. So what we have is a really good blend. Recently, and I know that's something that the international students have been really excited about, some of the new programs that have started have actually started because industry itself has come to the university, come to heads of department and said, look, in Christchurch and the New Zealand economy, we do not have enough students with these particular skills. And I can think of recent programs, master's programs in business information systems. Next year we will start a new program and purely a Bachelor of Data Science, and that is purely driven by industry need. So we feel there's a fantastic blend. And also, I think, Adam, one other point in terms of the methodology, one thing we really focus on here is something called engaged learning.
Engaged learning.
That means also learning outside of the classroom. And when you have an environment like Christchurch, and not just for science students, the business students do a lot of work, social enterprise out with the community. That's a very strong strand of what UC is about.
Yeah. So the students actually have, so this engaged learning is more of, it's part of their bachelor's degree. So it's like, is it like a week off or like a study week? What do you call it? Or is it like...
It's built into certain courses that students might do. For example, the business students, if they're looking at social enterprise, there may be a specific case study which takes them out into solving certain business problems. Again, for the science students, the engineering students, it is actually really hands-on. We have a number of field stations around the South Island that students are actually, particularly during the April semester break, that's kind of the paradise time for the science students. They get out there.
Okay. So it's part
of researching themselves.
Right. So it's part of a project that they have to conduct throughout the year, and they can visit these stations. For example, the science students to.
Absolutely, for the science students, and again for the business and.
Okay. The next thing I would like to ask you more about, because as you know, the audience who are watching the video today are more interested in studying the International Foundation Year provided by NCUK.
Yes.
So what I would like to know is the entry requirement for for NCUK students, and we're looking at the subject streams here. So what to expect before applying to the university?
Sure. So at the moment, for our requirements from the International Foundation Year into our general degrees, so our general degrees are Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Arts. So students are required to provide 3 C's across their IFY. For entry into those programs. And very soon we will have confirmation on what is required for engineering students.
That's actually great.
Because we do have, particularly at Canterbury, and I find that with the Vietnamese students, because typically the background in maths is really strong, and that's always the core, for good engineers. So our engineering department absolutely love to see when we have a new Vietnamese student coming, because they know the maths background is going to be really strong. So we see students, particularly in civil engineering, which is our worldwide, that's our highest ranked subject. Sometimes it sits within top 10 of worldwide subject rankings, civil engineering.
Right. So math is one of the core subjects, I would say, even for business students. We definitely we make sure that students go for that subject, definitely. Because as you know, for NCUK, the students actually have 4 options to choose 3 from. But we'll make sure to let the students know right now that you should go for math. Okay, that's one of the core modules you should go for.
Go for maths. Maths, because that engineering, data science, finance, economics, you can't go wrong.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. So CCC for the subject streams, and that's good to know.
Yes.
All right. So as you know, or actually maybe I haven't mentioned to you, but our first batch of students who are studying NCUK in Vietnam, they're interested in the Faculty of Business. So they would like to study, like you mentioned earlier, Bachelor of Commerce or Bachelor of Commerce, and then they'd like to specialize in a specific major. So could you tell us more about the Faculty of Business at the university, and what do you think the differences are, or what makes the Faculty of Business more unique at the University of Canterbury, and why should students study it there?
Absolutely. We have a really unique centre here, Adam. It's known as the University of Canterbury Centre for Entrepreneurship. This is a really, I know that's a very difficult word for everyone, but it's fantastic. It's not students through their bachelor degree, when they go into projects at the Centre for Entrepreneurship, they're not actually getting credit points, but it's just something that really enables them, again, to tackle real world problems and also develop ideas that they have for business. And actually what came about from that centre, within the Bachelor of Commerce, there's a very unique major we have. It's a major in strategy and entrepreneurship. And why we find that one so popular with the international students is a lot of our students sometimes are coming from a family business background.
Right.
So their mum or dad might be running a business, and they, want their child to go and learn about how to create more business ideas. And, sure, you have the option after you graduate to stay in New Zealand, maybe get some work experience, but then come back home and put those ideas into practice to further develop family business. So we find that one, really, really, students do a number of management courses, but within the second and third year, you really get to focus upon business strategy and creation of new business ideas.
Right.
So for me, outside of the Vietnamese students who love the finance and economics, that's the one I would go for, particularly for those students from a family business background.
Right. And to actually confirm on that, majority of the students that I speak with do come from families like that, families who own like a business, and they would like to send their kids overseas so they could bring in the knowledge of how to run the business and flourish the business even better. And it's quite interesting because lately I've been speaking with students that are quite interested in starting up their own firm or a small company or even business. And that's one of the common questions that I'm getting recently. Is like, if I apply to University X, do they provide me with support if I have an idea that I would like to develop, say, in New Zealand? And I think this is a good question if you would like to answer, James, because students watching this will also be having a similar idea. It's like, what if I want to do as business when I go to New Zealand? Well, that's exactly what the Centre for Entrepreneurship is. It's a startup incubator. And we see students, Adam, who are not even business students. Art students who are very creative, may have been doing digital media. They may have a great business idea. They can take that to the Centre for Entrepreneurship as well. And it's part of it's kind of an extra wraparound. As I said, it's not part of your core courses, but it's such an amazing function of the university to allow students, and to do a lot of group work with the local students. We're talking before about business networks. The local students, their parents may be running family businesses as well, and that's where a lot of the ideas spark from. Absolutely true. And it's mainly from the parents, because they grew up in this environment and they start developing their own ideas based on this environment. It's like, I don't really want to do my family's business, but I also want to have my own business at the same time. So they kind of still follow their parents' footsteps, but in their own way, I would say. So it's incredible to see. It's incredible to be part of as well, as a person who works with students regularly. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity, definitely. So and you did mention about the students who study the Bachelor of Commerce have the option to also choose a double major or specialize in a major.
Yeah, they can look again within Bachelor of Commerce. Again, sometimes for those students from family business, often perhaps a more conservative major is accounting, but you combine that with strategy and entrepreneurship. So when you come back home, look, you can look after the books as well, as well as the new ideas.
True.
Yeah, one also really strong point for our commerce students is if you're doing a commerce major, you're also able to do a minor from a selection within the College of Arts. And we see again students really taking this opportunity. You can do within 3 years, for example, you can do a major in marketing, but also have a minor in psychology. Because they're actually a really good mixed management as well. When people are looking at human resources, psychology is so important.
Agreed.
So, again, within that 3 years, you can mix and match between a commerce major and also an arts minor, and that's really, really popular because a lot of students have their own interest. They have kind of their career pathway set up with commerce. Something you're passionate about yourself. History or another language, you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's quite important for students who especially want to end up working with a lot of people, and especially within the communication field. Psychology is quite important for being able to understand how people think and what different behaviors mean and how can you deal with certain situations. So yeah, it's good to know that students have the option to not just listen fully to their parents, but also follow what they also like to. If they have a passion to a certain subject, they can also choose that as like you said, a minor as well. On average, how long does, you said 3 years it takes to finish one bachelor's degree?
Yes. So a Bachelor of Commerce, if you do a double major, you're working hard, but you can still do it within 3 years. Right. Some students take 3.5, but for the Bachelor of Commerce major and then a Bachelor of Arts minor, definitely 3 years.
3 years, okay. What's the recommended?
As long as you pass every paper.
Yeah, of course, definitely. So the university recommends like at least 3.5 years, I would say. So unless the student would like to do it like as soon as possible, then 3 years is the okay. So and then now the student is, they studied really hard, they've done a great job with their marks, and now it's time for them to graduate. What about after graduation? Do the student get any kind of support when they're seeking jobs in New Zealand? I do know that the university have a career support. So how can the student, for example, use this support after graduation as well?
Well, we actually ask all students when they first arrive, even at the beginning of their journey, as part of the orientation, you can register with the CareerHub. And so once you have registered with that CareerHub, every time a company comes onto campus or is giving information sessions, you will get notification. Obviously, sometimes in the first year that seems a little bit early, but some students are thinking already in their second year about approaching local companies for internships, etc. And so then by the third year, when you have narrowed down which companies you will be approaching, the CareerHub will give you full advice on interview techniques, how to polish your CV, and the best approaches for the job applications. Look, they know that it's very competitive, but they have certain specific information for international students on how to best approach these companies. And currently in New Zealand, when students do graduate with a bachelor degree, the current policy is that you receive a 3-year open work permit.
Great.
So you can actually go into any type of role. That's fantastic. It used to be 1 year, and that used to put a lot of pressure on students, but 3 years gives you a chance to really thoroughly, go about your research, and do what you can to get the job you're really looking for.
3 years is really great. Is really great. It's really generous for students to be able to explore the career world, like in New Zealand, and also get connected and potentially get sponsored as well eventually. And
well, we know that's the long-term goal at times for particularly in certain areas in IT, again, data science and the engineering students. If they're in that role and then are doing well, that is really a step for them to then look at permanent residency here.
And I think this is also something quite exciting for students from Vietnam to explore and live in New Zealand as well and work in New Zealand. But some might be looking for long term, but a lot of them, especially if they're coming from a family business, they might have to go back eventually.
Yes.
It's a still great experience for them regardless of, 3 years is quite a lot of years. It's not that short of a period.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, 1 year was short, but now they changed to 3 years, which is incredible. So
yeah,
great. I think I'd like to jump to the final two questions, or final two topics, I would say, before asking you the final question after these two topics. The first one is, I would like to know more about living in the city, living on campus as well. And what's the differences between living on campus versus living in the city, and also some of the aspects of living on campus, like societies and clubs and workshops or other things that make living on campus quite unique.
Absolutely. Look, what we do for all students coming in to begin a bachelor degree, we really recommend the on-campus accommodation that is run by the university. The main reason is that we guarantee it. We guarantee that it's clean. We guarantee in winter that it will be warm. Now that's a big thing, because I know parts of Vietnam up in the north get a little bit cold, but for the majority of international students, anywhere you travel, really in a Western country, other than certain places, you're going to feel cold at some times. It's just inevitable. So, especially for the first semester, if you go into the university of accommodation, we know it will be warm, and it is also the best way to social network. If you take up a contract just for 6 months, often students do that. You make a social network, and then you eventually end up going into private accommodation with the friends you have made from that university accommodation. And I think particularly for us at Canterbury, there are 10 dormitories, or we call them halls of residence, that are within 15 minutes walk. So it's really like a little mini city, Canterbury. And again, that access to the Asian shopping, supermarkets and restaurants is very close as well. The city itself is about 15 minutes, the central city from us. We have an amazing actual bicycle pathway that a lot of the students use. I'll say not so many students live in the central city, and that's due to the cost of the rental apartments there.
Right.
For those who have initially been in university accommodation, then tend to find private accommodation in a type of shared house with their friends around here, and it's certainly cheaper than the central city.
So that basically because of the prices. So I actually wanted to connect that with the next question, because a lot of times I get asked about the financial expenses and how much should I save or expect to spend on an annual basis as a student, like living on campus, for example, in the University of Canterbury, for example. And because a lot of students sometimes think like, I do want to come on a budget, but I don't want to just think of the budget and like not really be able to enjoy the city and enjoy the culture. So I think if we could give an average for a student, that will be a good start for them to think about.
I think and the range is the best way to do it. I mean, I understand to get your 1 year, still the 1 year student visa for New Zealand, you need to show 15,000 New Zealand dollars to cover your living expenses. We personally feel that is on the light side. We really feel between 15 to 20,000 per year is the best range. New Zealand dollars. Please don't ask me to put that in Vietnamese dong.
No, don't worry about it. I'll make sure to do the exchange.
Thank you.
Text.
But that's probably the best way. I can lead in because at the university we have such an incredible range of student clubs. It was something I was going to mention before. We have more than 150 student clubs, so a lot of the activities through the clubs, they're done at minimal cost, because you have sponsorship from the Students Association for a lot of the activities. And if you have that many clubs, there's such a range of activities. Everyone has certain things they're interested in more than others. That's such a great way also to make New Zealand friends. Join some of the clubs. A lot of the Vietnamese students, we have our own Vietnamese club. I'm very excited. It started last year. We got to the level where we have enough Vietnamese students to start that. Nice. Very active. And that's also a great network, kind of a support network for students when they first begin.
Definitely. It's a great way to network, and also if they feel homesick, you can come to the Vietnamese society. You feel home, probably going to be making some nice pho.
Do it.
So I think that's actually great to know all these details, and I think we're kind of like almost at the very end of the episode today. So I've been really having a lot of fun learning about the university and also the city, as well as studying at the University of Canterbury. But I think there is one final question that I would like to ask you, but it's not really a question. It's more of I would like you to give an advice to our students who are watching the video right now. So what advice would you like to give our students before applying to the university?
Okay, before applying. I was thinking more about when you get here.
or before they apply, and also when they get there. Let's do it that way, so we don't before.
I mentioned at the very beginning, when you are making an application, really do your research. And I talked about the Vietnamese student club. I think the president of that program, he runs the Facebook page. We have a UC Vietnamese Facebook page. Go into that, have a look and see what the life is here. Research lots of different ways, because I think that gives you a really good idea of what you can expect, because you always want to know a little bit more about something or somewhere when you get there than you think you needed to know.
True.
And I think, Adam, in terms of, in the happy point when you actually arrive here, I always mention this because I'm not going to say how long ago it was, but when I was studying in Korea, that really changed my life, and I was pretty quiet, but when I got there, I just found so many opportunities to meet so many different people. And again, when students come here, sometimes it can be hard, but what I mentioned before about joining the clubs, trying to break into different networks and challenging yourself, that's such an amazing way to make friends, and also long-term, sets up personal and business networks. So the clubs, just engaging in as many group activities as you can. That's my final advice.
Thank you very much, James. I think that's a great way to end the episode today. I think students are really grateful for that advice, to do research, to join clubs, societies, meet other people, get out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to talk to other people from other cultures. It's a great experience, you know.
Yeah.
Being a university student is just not just for studying, but also to build up your personality and also build up your network and explore yourself.
It's truly a once in a lifetime experience.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I do sometimes feel like I look back at when I was a university student, and I also feel like I probably should have done more. I had opportunities to, but you know, once in a lifetime, like you said. So
yes,
agreed. So James, I don't have any more questions. I think today's session was incredible. I learned so much about the university, learned so much about the city as well, and I'm sure our students as well are quite grateful for all the information and knowledge they gained today. So I just want to thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart for being such an incredible person and for sharing so much with us today. And we're really happy to have you on the show. So thank you very much, James.
Absolute pleasure, and really enjoyed it myself.
Thank you, James. So I think we can end the episode here. So thank you everybody for watching Coffee Chat with Adam, and we will have more episodes coming in the upcoming weeks. So stay tuned for those. And with that said, I think it's time for me to say goodbye, everybody. See you in the next episode, and take good care. See ya.